Says you're live.
All right, yes, we're live streaming, so just so you're aware. All right, today's date is February 9th, 2026. The time is 5:02 p.m. This will be the beginning of the closed township board meeting. Chris Weisner, trustee, will be presiding over the meeting. Everybody has received a packet and also a sign-in sheet. At this time, we will all stand, face the flag, and recite the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Stay standing, get your hats off. We'll bow for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together as a board and discuss issues that have come before the board to review the past year's finances and any other issues that we may discuss. Lord, we ask that you'll be with us and give us the insight, forethought, and wisdom to make the right decisions for the betterment of the township. In Jesus' name, we ask these things. Amen. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the 2026 board minutes from January. Everyone does have the minutes from the meeting. A few times and review that, please. Everyone had a chance to review the minutes. Minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Lloyd Miller makes a motion to accept the minutes, and that's a second. All in favor? Opposed? Show that the board meeting minutes from January 2026 have been approved. The PA7, the statistical summary for the month of January of this year shows that we had 52 requests for township assistance. Keep in mind, this is our slower time of year. You have people with tax returns, and there's still a little bit of money left over from family, I believe, from the holidays. So typically this time of year, the numbers are down. We have not had any, for January, we have not had any funeral burials or cremations. We have nothing at this time. Total case value so far for the month of January was roughly $23,502. Next is the monthly financial report for January. And that is followed by the bank reconciliations for both the savings and checking accounts. Currently showing a bank register of $1,575,780.84. The savings account balance of $177,299.67, and the checking account as well. And following the checking and the savings account, there was also the credit card statement with a breakdown of amounts and what the expenditures were for. The concerns on either the checking or savings statements. There a motion to approve the checking, savings, and credit card statements and reconciliation. Dave Hollenbeck makes a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mike Sherman seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Show that the monthly reports for January have been approved and passed. Next in your packet, you'll have the annual financial report for all of 2025. Starting out with Township Fund 0101, it shows $772,072.39 were dispersed, leaving an ending balance of $883,541.85. The Levy Access Fund, there's receipts of $3,860 with an ending balance of $3,860. Rainy Day Fund shows an ending balance with zero disbursement of $41,398.20. Township Assistance Fund, which is 0840, shows a disbursement of $650,199.91, ending balance of $449,618.60. Our cumulative fire fund, we dispersed $120,466.72 with an ending balance of $55,147.21. Firefighting fund dispersed $653,838, ending cash balance of $370,111. Payroll deductions were $583,861.43, and an ending balance of $4,820.94. Total yearly disbursements were $2,780,438.45. Ending cash and investment balance for 2025 is $1,808,497.80. Added to that are the breakdown of all the expenditures for 2025. The statistics for 2025, the TA7, which shows that there were a total of 814 requests for township assistance. We had 17 burials, funerals, and or cremations. And the total case value management for the year was $413,561.
See when COVID hit.
Any questions on the 2025 annual financial report or statistics? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the 2025 annual financial report?
Also,
Lloyd Miller makes a motion. Doug Conduct makes the second. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? We'll show the 2025 annual financial report, D7 has been passed. Form for signatures of approval. Top one is for the Township Board Chairman and President. Sign and print your name below. That, and where it says option one. Yes, so this. Before we get into the fire report, Chief Paramedic, we're gonna talk briefly about the purchase of the new fire truck purchase. And copies of the latest invoice with the additional equipment added in. Start as well. Showing the total balance with the upgrades of $857,500. $840,000. $20,000 in upgrades, additional equipment. Plus, we had the $2,500 down payment or deposit, leaving the $857,500 balance. I know the question, one of the big things that came up was how are we going to pay for this? So we have Kevin Lister with Reedy Financial Group out of Seymour. They are the ones that are handling the financial aspect of that. Then a cash flow analysis to tell us how we can end up paying for this. So turn the floor over to Mr. Lister.
Okay, like you said, Kevin Lister from 3D Financial Group. When Chris and I started talking about this, when you guys first became aware of it, it was made pretty clear that we didn't want to have to go down the avenue of looking for a bond to try to finance this truck. So I think we have put together a plan that will be able to accomplish that. It's going to be a little bit creative, and it will require the township to keep pretty tight control on the spending out of the general fund to accomplish that. So what you have in front of you is the cash flow plan looking back to 2022. And so 22, 23, 24, and 25 will be actual figures. And then 26 through 34, which would be the life of the loan for the truck, we're projecting that. We did make a couple of assumptions when doing those projections. Like I said, we're going out 10 years. We're assuming a flat 4% growth rate, which is what the state has grown at for the last several years. So we're assuming that that trend is going to continue on for the next 10 years. We are also assuming that the CUME Fire Fund, the max rate there is going to increase to the max rate of 0.333 cents beginning at the latest at the start of 2027. And I know you guys are already in the process of getting that max rate implemented in the current year. So that one at least is already in the process. A couple of things that I want to point out before I really get too far into this. We did have to get creative on how we funded the truck. Your CUME Fire Fund is not capable of sustaining a payment for that fire truck. So we are not going to be able to use any money out of your CUME Fire Fund to pay for that truck. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any money left to buy turnout gear or other supplies and equipment. At the current rate of spend, if you spend the full budgeted amount for 2026, you will actually end the year in the CUME Fund with a deficit. As we go through the year, you'll want to be cautious on the spending there unless the revenues end up being more than what we're projecting based on the budget. We will end the year at least fairly close to zero. That being said, we are going to utilize the rainy day fund to make the payments for this truck. The reason for that is there are some legal restrictions on what you can use your general fund cash for. Since a majority of your township is in the incorporated city of Columbus that your fire department does not protect, we cannot use general fund monies to pay for the truck. Now, we can transfer up to 10% of your unspent appropriation for the year into the rainy day fund. The rainy day fund does not have the same stipulations. It can be used for any lawful purpose within the township. So what our plan is for the township to at least underspend the budgeted general fund by 8% every year and transfer that 8% down to the rainy day fund.
Makes sense.
So we would do that with the end of 2025. You were underspent by exactly 8%. So we will transfer that down to the rainy day fund. We will probably have to do an additional appropriation for the current year because we didn't budget for a transfer down to the rainy day, but you can't do an additional appropriation until the annual report has been submitted. So that'll be a maybe next meeting thing that we do. So we'll move that money down to get us started. And we are also expecting the return of the bond proceeds for the legal situation, that all of that will be deposited directly into the rainy day fund to help get the ball rolling for those payments. So as you look through this, on that top line with the general fund, you'll see a boxed out area where it's showing unused budget and then the transfer to rainy day. The numbers in that unused budget, again, estimated at 4%, are what will need to be unspent to be able to make this 8% transfer a reality. So that's what I'm saying. We need to make sure that as we go through the years, we are very cognizant of the spending, and if there are areas where we can maybe cut back to make sure that we're hitting that mark, especially October, November, December, we'll want to make sure that we're doing that and keeping a very close eye on that, on those expenditures for the year. The next line down, the transfers to rainy day, that's what we're anticipating being able to transfer. And then obviously the next box is the CUME Fire Fund, where, as I pointed out, at the end of 2026, with the ending year balance and the budget, could put us a little bit in a deficit situation, or very close to zero. And then the bottom box, the rainy day fund, you can see in there the beginning cash balance as of the end of the year, 41,398. Revenue, that 61,500 revenue is the transfer of unused appropriation from 2025. The bond return of 360,000, and again, that's an estimate of 360,000. Chris and I have talked about that, and that's what we're hoping comes back to the township. And then the purchase of the new fire truck at $112,425 a year. You will notice as we go through that 10-year period, we are also building a little bit of cash in the rainy day fund. So, you know, if we get to the end of the 10-year period and you're looking to buy something else, you know, we won't have completely tapped out that rainy day fund money. It is worth noting that in order to do this, we will be spending down the general fund just a little bit every year. And I think you guys are all pretty well in agreement that it's probably worth it for the discount you're getting on that fire truck.
A heck of a deal.
Yep. So that being said, does anybody have any questions on how or why we are doing this the way we're doing it? I said it
Makes sense to me.
as long as we stick to this plan, you should not need to take out a bond.
Yeah.
If we get down the road and legislative changes have, you know, changed some of the line items in here, then we can maybe look at doing a GO bond later on to cover some of your general fund expenses and still have that cash available to transfer down. But as of right now, this plan should be feasible and keep you guys in a pretty good situation.
And you were saying for 2025, we underspent 8%.
Yes.
And I can say that I think the township spent a little heavy on upgrades with the office computers. So that was a one-time expense. So that just kind of adds to for next year. We shouldn't have any issue staying underneath that 8% for future years. For Kevin.
Makes sense, Mike? No. I have any questions. Okay.
I was gonna say, if you guys get down the road and you do come up with questions, send them to Chris and you can reach out to me and I can get you some answers if you need them.
So realistically, it's a way of shuffling money around into a different category where we can say that this amount of money goes towards the fire truck without any having to pull from funds that we can't access.
Just clarity. So we are saying that in the direct service portion, it's not going to affect direct service in any way. Is that
Correct.
Sure.
Correct.
That should be noted.
We are not touching township assistance at all.
We do this study about every year.
Oh, I'm aware. I just wanted in the note. I wanted to be,
Yeah.
but this does not affect direct
What's
service.
that? Kevin, you correct me if I'm wrong. So we're taking funds from the previous year that weren't utilized and moving them. It does not affect the current year's budget
Correct.
for township assistance or township admin or any other line item or category.
Yes, with the caveat that we underspend by 8%. That's the only touch point in the current year is that you underspend your general budget by 8%.
It comes from last year, not the current. So yeah.
Now, Kevin, it sounds to me like things are gonna be pretty tight for the next 10 years. What happens if something big comes up 3 years from now?
So you guys are in a pretty good surplus cash position right now anyway. So we're not spending down the general fund by an amount that is going to be detrimental. Now, if you're looking at spending, $500,000-$600,000 on something, then at that point we would probably look at doing a GO bond, a general obligation bond, or some other kind of
In
financing.
3 or 4 years, if they need another fire truck,
Mhm.
then that would have to go like to a GO bond.
So if they get down the road 4 or 5 years and decide they need another fire truck, we probably wouldn't do a GO bond for that. We would probably do a capital bond for the purchase of that fire truck. Now, the thing to remember, anytime you're doing a bond, you're impacting tax rates, right?
Right.
So if you got down the road and needed another fire truck and decided to do a bond for it, you would be increasing the tax rates for the township.
So by doing this, we shouldn't have to change anything.
Correct.
Right.
Yep. The only thing we're changing is on the Cume Fire Fund, is going to the max rate on that, which needed to be done anyway. You guys were quite significantly under that max rate.
Okay.
So
We need to make any type of motion to approve.
I think we've already approved
We
the
approved.
purchase
Right.
of it. This is just explanation on how we're going to pay for it. Now, if you want to do something along that line, you can, but you don't have to.
yeah,
We've already-
the only thing you may need to make a motion on is moving the money, allowing the money to be moved from the general fund to the rainy day fund.
Which would be the next.
Right.
Yeah.
No other questions for Kevin?
Good job.
Thank you. Hey, we're here to help you guys, you know.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
Like I said, any questions, let me know, and
Thank you for the guidance.
Anytime.
You can come in at the next meeting if need be, or any other meeting. More than happy to come in and speak with us. Thanks, sir. All right.
And like that.
I want to stay, but
Gotta go, right?
I coach my son's 6th grade basketball team, and they've got a game tonight. So,
Sweet.
yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Chris, let me know if anybody has any questions, and
Okay,
we'll get taken care of.
will do. I appreciate it, sir.
You guys have a good week.
You too.
All right, as far as office updates, we all are aware that Ben Jackson was sentenced. So the main part of all that is over. If there's an appeal that doesn't concern us, he's pled guilty, he's been sentenced. Now the Attorney General's office can move forward with regaining restitution in that estimated amount of $360,000. The circuit court did give us a check for $4,711 towards that restitution, which was out of his bond money. So well, at least we're in the position where we're starting to get some money coming back in from that. I've reached out to the prosecutor's office on regaining our computers and tablets. I have yet to hear back on that. But hopefully that's a chapter that's over and done with. There has been a little bit of public backlash. After he was sentenced and it was in the paper, people complaining, well, you know, he took the money and why can't I get the assistance? When they see that $1.12 million, but you can't help me with $5,000, $8,000, $1,200. But there again, we're limited as far as how much money. If somebody comes in with $1,000 for rent or utilities, we can't pay 100% of that. But people don't understand
They don't get
that
that.
either.
Why is that? Because of state guidelines or?
Mhm.
Yeah, yes, what you have, what Chris is being very kind and polite and saying is that you have people now that feel that they can come in and say basically whatever they want to us. Darcy's here, it's happened to her, it's happened to me, it's happened to Helen. It's been just one thing after another. And it's just comments more so than anything. So, you know, we all know you just push forward. Last week, Darcy had one and she just kept saying, okay, well, let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. It doesn't feel good, but you know, we've endured 1.5 years of this. So, you know, we're not new to the game here. But right now people are just basically, some people, not everyone, they don't get what they want, then they take a shot at the whole situation with that.
You know, township government is supposed to be the last resort. So if
Yes.
you've got $1,000 electric bill, you can go to Love Chapel, you can go to Human Services, you can go United Way, figure out how much money you can get from them before we actually give them a set amount. So there again, if they come here first with $1,000, we can't give you $1,000 because there are other options are available to you. We're considered a last resort. And there's documentation that shows they're going to Love Chapel, United Way, and Human Services, and then pledge X amount of dollars. Only then can we come up with an actual dollar amount.
And this time of the year, there's a federally funded program called the Energy Assistance Program. So a large part, I know I was looking at the figures here, and right now it doesn't reflect it. You know, as we go through the year, we will be spending more for utilities. But right now, from basically October to March 15th or 16th, anyone applying for the Energy Assistance Program through our coming in and saying, hey, I need my bill paid, we have to send them first to get the federal money, which is administered through the CAP agency, which is Human Services. So we spend a great deal of time right now doing that, you know, just guiding people to where they can go to actually get assistance. If they are denied because of being over the income guidelines, not because they didn't finish the process, but if they're denied for being over the income guidelines, then they can come back to our office, and then we can, this time of the year, look at that type of assistance. I don't think I've had it maybe one this season that was denied for being over the income guidelines. Have you been had it? Yeah. So that's not even a release right now. Anyone coming in has to go there. So those numbers you will see begin to increase after March. The program ends, actually, the actual program ends in April, but the moratorium ends in March. But anyway, so you'll start to see an increase uptick in utility assistance starting in about April, right?
But as far as office updates, I don't believe there's anything else that I have to add. Like I said, we are live streaming, which is required. But that was effective in 2025. It was just a matter of us getting on board and figuring out how to do that. So we're up and running with that. Any questions on the office itself? I don't know.
The bond we can capture is max is 366,000.
360,000 at 60. He was bonded at $60,000 per year.
Okay.
And so for 6 years of that is $360,000. The Attorney General's, I talked with them back in, I believe, December, and that they were already trying to get some things worked on that, but they couldn't go forward until he was sentenced. So now that they were running that on their own, and hopefully we will have those funds by the end of 2026. That's on their timeline. I have no control over it. Hey, Chief Ehrenberg.
So you have the PowerPoint for the annual report. Which two slides are got this 2025 highlights. We've got the gym completed. We've got the training tower, the Connex is in place. Have a couple berms in them already. And the TAC, as an update on the TAC real quick. Everything's done on it. I'm waiting on face plates to put the radio and the light controller in. All the lights are installed, ran. I've got the radio antenna finally. And everything is ran and in place. So I'm just waiting on those plates that are in service. For incident summary, 2025, we had a total of 701 runs. 38% were EMS, 33% were fire, or that's fire alarms, false calls, so have you. 22% were rescues, so accidents, entrapments, all of those technical rescue type. Hazardous conditions is all hazmat calls, and then service would be random calls pretty much. Still trending up. The 2025 incidents continues. We broke it down per apparatus. So that's that number, that 339 was just engine 21's responses. That's what we're trying to reduce, lower the wear and tear on it. Notice 23 only went out 20 times. Again, that was limited response due to its mechanical state. And then the 21.9, a lot of those will also roll into the TAC with it responding to brush fires and water rescues. So So wear and tear quite a bit on those two. The incident response by area, so there's the total for the year. 44% of the town, Columbus Township calls were mutual aid. Out of the 701, 178 were in the city, 17 in Clay Township, 5 in Clifford, 392 in Columbus Township. 1 Lonely Run in Edinburgh, 33 in Eton, 23 in German, 19 in Harrison, 1 Hartsville, 1 Four Hopes, 6 in Southwest, and 22 in Wayne for the year.
We still haven't been, if Edinburgh to take care like there must have malls on there.
They took that over.
They did?
Yep.
I'm surprised. I am too.
Casey Taylor's on city and he's assistant.
Yeah.
2025 classes, we did quite a few classes and we've got even more planned for this year. We've already knocked out on the 2026 list. We've already done another general. We just finished mobile water. We start advanced EMT in next week. And we'll move into aerial and extrication tech after that. And we'll do our instructor 1 and probably another FOSS class in the fall. We do every year. The TIMS class is a new class that every EMT is required to take for renewal. So you can do it online or in person. Our online one is in March, or our in-person one is in March, sorry. I've already done the online one. Nathan got the pleasure of doing it the other day. He loved it. Not much fun.
No.
Then the big highlight, 2026, IDLH, right, immediately dangerous to life and health training hours. So we're required per person, which these hours actually changed this year, but currently we require 200 hours of company training. 12 if you're an existing driver, or 60 if you're a new driver. 16 facility, that's the big one. That is the 1/3 of our ISO score. 6 hazmat, and 12 only if you're an officer. And then EMS has no requirement beyond what is required to recertify. But we went from 578 hours, total hours of training, to 4,843. So we increased training hours over 4,200 hours this year. Part of that's in how we capture hours, but the majority of that is a large increase in training. So that's awesome. Question in the annual something? For January, we had 183 hours total for career staff, 15 hours per person. There's a lot of storm hours in there, so I think they're doing more games than training, unfortunately. ECFD Alfred, 62 hours. That is including the general and mobile water class. That's so high. OT, we'll see the end of January, the winter storms OT, and next month, just wait pay during spell. So it looks like we have no OT, but we did have some OT in the winter weather. Fortunately, one of the guys took a vacation day, one of the ones that had a shift of overtime, so got us out of that OT. We had 58 runs this month of January, 27 in the township. We had 9 working fires, 3 were first arriving. Of those 3, 2 of those we have knocked out for the actual department arrived. We have 1 hazmat, 1 entrapment, and 1 water rescue. Bismarck.
Oh, okay.
Not too bad on PTO. Volunteer coverage. The whenever you get to see the winter weather storm coverage, that volunteer savings goes way up. They saved us about $5,000 from all the shifts they did. So big help.
That staffing both station.
Yep. You have to put a crew up there the first 2 days, not the Monday. The Monday's when the show died. Right. We haven't put them up there with either them all the time.
Any question for the chief? Other questions and comments? There a motion to adjourn? Doug Hollenbeck makes a motion to adjourn. Lloyd Miller seconds. All in favor of adjournment? All opposed? It shows the meeting is adjourned at 5:56 PM.
Right.
And we thank you for your support.
You go home Sunday.
Oh, yeah. It was more than that. That's for sure.
Darcy.